We all have that friend who drank so much they woke up in their bathtub. But Jiang Wu from Qingdao took drunk to an entirely new level in eastern China when he woke up sealed inside of a 60-foot shipping container. Wu claims that during his drunken state he thought the container was a bed and breakfast. But unfortunately, this bed and breakfast was bound for a 2-week trek across the Pacific Ocean to LA. Luckily, Wu had a cell phone on him and frantically began calling anyone he knew for help. The Qingdao police responded saying his problem was, though, that he couldn't tell us which container he was in, and there were thousands of them stacked on top of each other. Wu was eventually found in a container stacked 18 meters in the air, just an hour before the ship's departure. Nothing spells out drunken fun like taunting a 15,000-pound elephant. Well, drunk and disorderly, a Sri Lankan man got it into his head to do just that. Defenseless, he began antagonizing one of the largest known animals on Earth, just days after it had attacked and killed another man. Despite the screams of horrified bystanders, the man continued to harass the elephant, who quickly lost patience and reared back before trampling him underfoot. Covered in both mud and blood, the Sri Lankan was pulled away from the elephant severely injured, missing an ear, but somehow still alive. We often joke about Australians riding kangaroos to work or wrestling crocodiles for exercise, but one drunken Aussie took it to heart. In 2010, Michael Newman was kicked out of one watering hole only to go find a better one, the Broome Crocodile Park, where he climbed a fenced-off enclosure and tried to rodeo ride a 1,800-pound crocodile named Fatso. Not surprisingly, Fatso did not find this joke very funny, and tore into Newman's leg with its razor-sharp teeth. In a strange turn of events, perhaps because Fatso had already had dinner, he let Newman's leg go and the Aussie survived another drunken night. A Wisconsin man named Antonio Brown may have given his children a fear of clowns just in time for the holidays, when he dressed up as one for Halloween. Brown then proceeded to kidnap his children and force-fed them alcohol alone in the woods. If that weren't scarring enough, when the 13 and 8-year-old tried to run away, he grabbed the older child and held him upside down off the overpass, threatening, "If you try that again, I'm going to drop you." Brown has been charged with child abuse and second-degree reckless endangerment. In 2013, a drunk Louisiana man rode his horse into a saloon called Cowboys. Despite the name, local patrons were not impressed with his Wild West skills, especially not once he lassoed an unsuspecting man and dragged him around the parking lot from on top of his horse. If that weren't enough, he re-entered the bar on his horse, caused a major disturbance, and then fled from the police while threatening them. This cowboy is being charged on multiple counts of disturbing the peace, second-degree battery, public intimidation, and retaliation. 39-year-old Sean Welsh was described as, quote, very intoxicated in his official report after streaking nude through his yard, before nakedly breaking into his neighbor's house to spend a cozy night inside their dryer. Maybe he thought it was a bed and breakfast too. According to police, his 1 a.m. arrest ended in a 5-day jail sentence and misdemeanor charges for disorderly conduct. Usually, drunk driving arrests are taken seriously because of the people we carelessly put in harm's way. But in Gerald Rader's case, police were additionally concerned because of the pet zebra and macaw that he had buckled into the front seat, arrested with a blood alcohol level of 0.148, which is nearly double the 0.08 legal limit. Rader claims he was just getting out of the car to let another driver take over the wheel. So who was going to drive them home, the zebra or the macaw? Usually you can count on at least one of your drunken pals to tell you when you're making a bad drunk decision. But when a passing traveler asked Dwayne Matthews if he'd like to buy a stolen African rock python, not one of his friends thought it was a bad idea. Only when Matthews woke up the next morning hungover and found the monster snake reared up and poised to strike his passed out friend did the regret sink in. Instead of running out the door, Matthews, in an act of bravery, threw a quilt over it and managed to subdue the 30-pound reptile. Luckily, all participants lived, but Matthews did face criminal charges when he was caught selling the stolen snake later that day. In a bizarre chain of drunk choices, a 28-year-old mother got over her midweek hump day by slamming some booze before jumping in her Trans Am. Barely down the street, she crashed into the side of a mobile home. Terrified of the repercussions, she tried to change her identity by removing her pants, and then stole the next best getaway car, her son's battery-powered Power Wheels truck. After a not-so-high-speed chase from the cops, she was arrested and blew a .217 BAC, nearly 3 times the legal limit. A Kentucky woman jailed for public intoxication was secondarily accused of assaulting a jailer. The story is that while changing into her inmate uniform, the drunken woman used the only weapon she had, her breast milk, and squirted the female deputy in the face. What was previously probably only a misdemeanor has turned into a felony charge of third-degree assault on a police officer. Her bond for assault with deadly breast milk was set at $10,000 US.